But we were talking about Oregon, and you were going to give me some numbers. So I'm a little Dante Moore. I'm curious where Duck fans are at on Dante Moore. I know he had the Rutgers game, but it kind of feels like really since Dan Lanning proclaimed him the best quarterback in college football, it's not really gone amazingly for him.
Yeah, only 3 games, but yeah.
But, he's coming in, and I know he sat out from the nosebleed against Wisconsin, and they didn't need him to be Dante Moore.
Sure.
I thought about it yesterday. I thought it was a little odd how many programs of that caliber don't put their quarterback back in, even if it's just to hand the ball off. So now he goes into Kinnick. It's a big, massive weekend. The weather looks like it might be turning in a positive direction. That's
Look at that.
It's just a preview, projection of what the weather could be. So there might be a chance for him to open up the passing game more than we thought maybe going into it. You had numbers that you wanted to throw out about
I think one of the things that we went back to, when Oregon lost to Indiana, there were a couple of things that I circled out of that game, and I remember talking about the Monday after. One of them was you had one of the best targets on the field, and he didn't get a single look the entire first half, and that was Kenyon Sadiq. Kenyon Sadiq has kind of disappeared from this offense. And it's funny when we talk about Oregon's linebackers being maybe the weakness of their defense, and it's not necessarily a knock to say that they suck. Maybe part of it is they're really good at every other level, and that makes them look like more of a weakness. I definitely put some validity in that. But Iowa fan would tell you the same thing. Their weakness, and we talked to Gary Dolphin yesterday. What did he tell us about their defense? Their linebackers are their issue. So you have an opportunity to match up Kenyon Sadiq, who is a weapon unlike anything, in my opinion, that Iowa has. I know Weejan is a very good special teams player. But he can be a man amongst boys at times. And you get him single coverage against a linebacker or sitting down in certain zone looks. That should be an advantage for you to get him the ball early and get him the ball often because we know how special he could be. But the other thing we talked about in the aftermath of that loss to Indiana was they kind of lost their way and their identity offensively. When you go back and look, I think Indiana's got a very good defense. Would we agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Very stout up front. The front seven is solid, right?
Yep.
Oregon in that game, now this was affected because of sack yardage, and Dante Moore lost 30 yards in sack yardage. Jordan Davison in that game had 8 carries for 59 yards. That's 7.4 yards per carry. Noah Whittington had 5 carries for 27 yards. That's 5.4 yards per carry. And Jaden Lamar, who will not be playing this weekend, had 3 carries for 17 yards. That's 5.7 yards per carry. They showed you that they could run it. They just didn't. They kind of lost their way, and they got into their heads a little bit, and they struggled, and they were looking for certain plays to start a drive, and it wasn't happening for them. Mm-hmm. And I think they only ran the ball. It was maybe 6 or 7 times the entire second half. It was ridiculous, and so I think that's something that I would circle of. Oregon has shown me against good defenses that they can find ways to run the football, and so that's not necessarily a big concern of mine. The other part of it that I would add is Iowa's defense we give a ton of credit to. Kirk Ferentz has been, doing this for 20 years, right? We know it's good, what kind of game they're going to play, and they don't allow big plays. They don't allow explosive plays. When you go look at some of their matchups against teams with competent offenses, that's the hard part when you're recapping games in the Big Ten. Oregon is this way, right? Are we taking anything away defensively of what Oregon did to Wisconsin? No. Wisconsin might have the worst offense in all of college football. Literally, of every team that plays, they might be the worst. When you go back and look at the Rutgers game, for example, they won 38-28. Callie McManus and Rutgers have a good passing attack. You know what he did in that game? He threw for, 330 yards on him. Now, it was in Rutgers. Different setting. It was a Friday night. It wasn't at home. It wasn't a blackout game.
It was a high-scoring game, wasn't it?
It was 38-28. It hit the over in the first half. 14-14 at the end of the first quarter, right? You go to the Mendoza game where Indiana went in there, and no, they didn't light the world on fire, but he threw for like 250 and 2 tuds, and Elijah Surratt had 150 yards on him, and he's a better receiver probably than anything Oregon has to offer.
Sure.
But those are the little things that I lean on of like Iowa's a defense the last couple of weeks. They played Wisconsin, Penn State, and Minnesota. Those are their last 3 teams. Do any of them have a passing attack that's comparable to what Oregon can bring to the table?
No.
The answer is no, right? And so can Dante get into a rhythm early in the game? Can Dante feel comfortable early in the game? If he does, I think it changes the outlook immediately in the first quarter.
So I looked up Sadiq's numbers. Right now, Kenyon Sadiq on the season has 22 catches for 311 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I went and looked at Ferguson's numbers because I was curious, and I know it took him a long time to get a touchdown last season.
It did. They tried to make it happen, and it did not work out. Every time they tried to throw it to him in the red zone, it did not work.
43 catches, 591, and he ended up with 3. Sadiq has more touchdowns, and I understand how massively important he is in the running game. By the way, every Oregon running back, all the Oregon running backs combined are averaging 4 yards after contact.
Yeah.
So big bruising, strong backs that you have back there, and Sadiq is a big part of the running attack. Do you like the way he's been used this
No.
season?
Not at all.
Like, were you expecting more
Yes.
so far from? Okay.
I mean, he was baby Brock Bowers a year ago, and he was up and coming. I didn't expect that last year. You watch him and you see him seeing him in person. I can't even describe how.
I mean, on TV,
it's just like
the same
oh
takeaway
my
on TV.
God, like how
I'm
is
like,
that
how
possible?
does he not get the ball every other play?
Yeah, and of course that's disappointing.
I know.
You have one of your biggest games of the year in the Indiana game, and again, I just highlighted this. He didn't have a single target in the first half. Not one time. And Will
That's the
Stein's,
Chip Kelly. How come you don't just throw it up to Jeremiah Smith? Like, how do you not just like throw it to him?
And what did they do the first play of the second half? Play action boot, throw it to Kenyon Sadiq because they knew it. They went into the locker room and thought, oh, damn it, we didn't give him the ball once. All right, let's design some looks for him. He's too big of a player. He's too big of a difference maker in your offense to not give him 4 to 5 targets a half. And Will Stein's philosophy offensively is to get the dudes the ball and get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Get elite athletes, give them the football, and let them go cook. And so if you're not even giving him the opportunity, it's one thing if you're trying to throw him the ball early in the game and he's showing I got brick hands today and I'm not catching anything, then it's different. You might have to go away from it. But to not give him a target in one of your biggest games of the year, an entire half at home, that's inexcusable. That should be a matchup that could be a difference maker tomorrow.
So we had Dan Lanning once basically agree with me and be against you, and we have it again.
Okay.
I'm sorry to do this to you.
What did he do now?
Well, Dan Lanning is on with Isaac and Suk every Thursday at 4:00.
Yes, he is.
And he is on Team Sprague here, and he's anti-dirt.
Speaking of baseball, do you hear much about this banana ball stuff going on in Savannah?
Oh yeah, dude,
Georgia?
it's like sweeping the country.
You know they're coming out to Eugene next year.
Yeah.
So I was flipping through a documentary last night with my boys, and we were watching a little bit of it. It's pretty impressive, man. It's pretty cool.
Big Savannah banana fan, that Dan Lanning. He's excited about the bananas coming to Autzen Stadium.
He wants to be in the game. I don't blame him. He wants to get the invite to go.
You think that's what that
play
is?
some first base. It's the middle of the summer. He's got nothing going on. You know he's going to be involved in that somehow. I'm sure it'll be a sellout.
If Dan Lanning doesn't have a glove and is hip thrusting with the team before a pitch, they will have missed the mark here.
Or get him a pool to jump into. Can he jump? Like put a little inflatable pool that he can jump into?
That's only for 5 stars.
There could be it could be a 5-star on the Bananas roster. I don't know.
Well, I thought it was a sneaky good. I think it might have been Suk that said basically like Nike has to create a Savannah banana something,
You know that they
right?
will. You know that they will. Look, I get it being a big deal in person, and you want to go take your kids. Totally understand.
They're
it.
selling out stadiums, dude.
Get it off my ESPN. I want to watch real sports.
Well,
What
it is
this?
off your ESPN
Well, that's
because
true.
on
TNT or
TV.
TBS or something.
No, I just don't have ESPN anymore currently, so I can't watch the Savannah Bananas.
I saw a poll basically showing a lot of people are like me right now. We're holding the line.
It's been really strong. They're gonna cave at some point.
I will probably either buy a day pass from Sling this weekend for $5 or I will cave.
Monday night's a big game. But you got an antenna, so you can watch the Monday
Yes.
night game on it. Let me check and see if it's an ABC game.
All Monday night games, I think, are both ABC.
Not
Not
all
all
of
of them.
them.
No.
They're not?
That's why last week was such an alarming thing. Was they had it on ABC and the numbers were still lower. They were down. I want to say 20% year to date.
It is ABC and
Okay.
ESPN this
So you can watch it this week.
Are you guys sure not everyone is?
100% positive.
I thought
Not
they
all
had
of
announced
them
they
are.
had
No.
switched that back to being both.
That's why the numbers for the Cowboy game were
Gotcha.
jarring because, one, it's the Cowboys, and they always rate well, and it was an ABC simulcast
Yeah.
game, and the numbers were I think they did a year-to-date of where that game was last year, and it was down something like 20%.
Jeez.
And ESPN tried to brag about how good their numbers were, and everybody's like, this is down from last year, you morons.
Let's get on board and have fun with your baseball. Hip thrust a little bit. Do some
Hey,
backflips.
you want to take the kids, I get it. I don't want to see, it's not real sports. Get it off TV. Put
Dust-
it on the Ocho, that's fine.
Dusty has a real run right now of pretending he's not getting any perks being the sideline guy, and I'm enjoying it. Like 2 weeks ago, it was, you getting any of that Grateful Dead stuff? No,
No.
we're not allowed to.
No.
And then he comes in rocking Grateful Dead. Yeah, last minute. And then he was asked, are you going to get any tickets to the banana game? No, they don't hook it up. I promise you, him and his family will
Be
be
hanging
at
out
that
on the
game.
field.
I
They'll
promise
be sitting in
you.
the first base dugout. Is that what you're telling me?
He likes to downplay the connections he's established here as the
Oh, he for sure does.
sideline guy for Oregon. That
That's-
brand man.
Look, it's all great. It's entertaining. Not real sports.
Hip thrusting.
Yep. Double pump.
Do it in the World Series, 18th inning.
Pump, pump.